on climate change, and that is exactly what we are doing.
Question number 6, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Minister stand by his statement, migrant workers will only be used in Christchurch to fill jobs where New Zealanders, quote, won't be able to be trained in time for the job, such as engineers, which take 4 to 5 years training?
That is a question to the Minister for Tertiary Education, the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I stand by my full quote, which was as follows: you will have a need for people who won't be able to be trained in time to do the job, and that's why we've also got the Department of Labour involved to look at what sort of occupations will not be able to be filled just because of the time it takes to train them. So if you look at engineers, 4 to 5 years, well, realistically we have what's going through the pipeline right now. So it's the sort of areas where they might look at some extra migration to help with that particular part of the skills requirement.
David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that it only takes 18 months training to obtain a basic scaffolding qualification, why is the government advertising this occupation in its special Christchurch migrant skills list instead of investing more money into modern apprenticeships in Budget 2011 to help Kiwis into jobs?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, well, in fact, it's an interesting example because the MSD, I'm advised, has just done an exercise with the Scaffolding and Digging Association of New Zealand to subsidise 20 scaffolding trainees into jobs from the LSV courses, I understand. So it all moves around, which is the reality of it. The two things we're balancing here. One is to ensure that we have, as much as possible, use the skills of New Zealanders and train New Zealanders, and we're doing that, but also not to delay the recovery in Christchurch by having particular areas of skills that need being filled. So that's the balance that the government's looking to strike on all cases.
David Shearer.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, David Shearer.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to table a document from the Immigration New Zealand website which sets out the Canterbury skills
order. We
list
don't table stuff on departmental websites available to all members. Member have a supplementary question?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
David
Speaker.
Shearer.
Given that it takes 2 years training to become a qualified electricity line mechanic and that the Christchurch rebuild is expected to take 15 years, why is the government advertising this occupation in its special migrant skills list instead of training Kiwis to do that job?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, the member implies that it's some sort of mutually exclusive situation where you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, and the reality is that we are actually training very large numbers of people right now for the Christchurch rebuild and for the wider building and construction requirements in the country. For example, we currently have around 8,400 construction-related trades EFTs active in New Zealand right now, and we have 15,000 odd trainees in the Better Alliance as well now too.
David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he stand by his statement that 1,500 new training places should be more than enough to meet the skills needs in Canterbury, given that the most recent estimate from Canterbury Employment and Skills Board states that 30,000 extra trades workers will be needed for the rebuild?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure where the member gets that particular view from. We have added $48 million into specifically into a pool for additional trades training, which, if it was applied to EFTS places, would equate to 1,500 places. But that also could be applied to industry training and to a range of other things as well. And on top of that, I can inform the member that right now we have full-time EFTS places available in polytechnics and in universities around the country. We have full-time subsidy places with MSD in Christchurch for the Give a Local a Job program available now, and we have industry training places available now and modern apprenticeship places available now. So if the member knows of anybody who is interested in stepping up and being part of the rebuild in Christchurch, and my colleague points out there might be a few across the aisle after November, then they are most welcome to contact their local polytechnic or ITO and ensure that they have the opportunity to participate. There are lots of places available.
Point of order, Grant Robertson.
In the second to last supplementary question, in the answer, the Minister appeared to be quoting from an official document. I'd ask that he table that document.
I'll check with the Minister. Was the Minister quoting from an official document? That's not a document prepared for him by his officials. It's not an official document.
With the point of order,
the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, and I didn't want to interrupt the rest of the flow of the question, but you ruled, as you have consistently, that ministers or members are not allowed to table documents that are from websites. Yesterday, we had an assurance from the Minister for Social Development that she wasn't, and in fact she did, and I wonder whether that matter is going to be taken up.
The Speaker can't just take up matters like that, although he notes the point the honourable member is making. He noted it yesterday, and there's not a lot the Speaker can do about that, but it's in the Speaker's mind, and if it happens again, I'll be very concerned about it.
Point of order,
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I know that it is relatively unusual, but when the Speaker receives an assurance from a Minister on a matter of fact that is incorrect, one would have thought that the Speaker would take some action. I know that it would be very hard to refer a breach of privilege to oneself, but, sir, it wasn't a simple question. You asked the Minister and she gave you an incorrect reply which has not been corrected.
Is the member speaking to the point of order? The Minister, the Honourable Paula
Point
Bennett.
of order, Mr Speaker. Just in light of the conversation we had yesterday, you asked me if it was from a website yesterday. I said I believed that it wasn't. I had it in a hard form in front of me. It did not indicate it was from a website. It turns out that it was on a website later on that they found, but the document itself wasn't.
Order, we're not going to debate this issue right here and now. I did note yesterday, I asked whether the particular document was from a departmental website. I noted later the document had Department of Labour across the top of it. Rather difficult to have not been able to see the document was from a government department. The member who's raised the original point of order may note that the standing orders proposals will provide a mechanism for the Speaker to deal with this kind of issue, because the Speaker is not particularly happy when this kind of issue occurs, yet it troubles the Speaker that such an issue is not of sufficient moment for it to be considered to be a matter of privilege, but it is an important issue nonetheless, and I think the new proposals will enable matters like that to be dealt with. I have the supplementary questions completed to question number 6. No, Brendan Burns. Supplementary question to question 6.
Supplementary question to the Minister. Given there are 10,000 18 to 24-year-olds out of work in Canterbury, and given that we have a $30 billion rebuild over a generation, why won't he step up and give young Cantabrians real opportunities to train and rebuild their city rather than importing migrant labour?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I think the member might have misheard the answer to the previous supplementary when I listed a whole range of things that are available now, including subsidised jobs into Christchurch. The big challenge that we're all dealing with in Christchurch is the ongoing seismicity and when that settles down. And that has an impact on everybody's desire to step up and do things. But the places are available right now. I think the only thing we could do is sort of march them into the places at the point of some sort of compulsion. And I don't know that the member's suggesting that, but I think that would be inappropriate. But if he knows of anybody in his own constituency, for example, who would like to take up one of the many, many training opportunities of all types in Christchurch, then please please actually say to them to contact their local ITO, or they can contact my office if they'd like.
Question number 7, Chris Ockenvold.
Mr Speaker,